Hey, 30 seconds. Ten, nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
The following program is a real estate and mortgage show and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good morning and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101. To get on board right now, send us an email. Our email address is onair@yourteam.pro. And now, ladies and gentlemen, right to your hosts of Your Home, Your Money, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony.
We good?
Hi, everybody.
Are we in?
You knew we were.
No, I did not.
I hate you. You
This
should have
thing is
known.
not working.
They say,
Are we on?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Why do you think I hit you?
This is not working. But anyways.
You're not
that's-
working.
It's not working.
Good morning, everyone.
happy
morning.
2024, ladies and gentlemen.
Happy New Year. I wasn't here last week, so Happy New Year from me.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Once again, we're only YouTube. Hopefully next Saturday we'll be back live. Our producer will be back. And yeah. How's everybody out there this morning? It's really getting cold now. Supposed to be a snowstorm this weekend, at least in this part of the world of Canada. I don't know. I don't know. But then when I look at the weather, it shows an umbrella with rain, so
I want to get down to business, man.
Go ahead,
She's
then.
just talking fluff stuff. I want to talk. The year's over. And so we're reflecting back on the year, and Anthony and I, actually, he's pulling up some TP cheese.
Don't hurt your tongue. But don't hurt your tongue. But long story short, we're having, I was in an argument, but a bit of discussion on what happened last year versus what happened between 89 and 96.
Yeah,
Right. So last year we lost around $65-ish thousand,
yeah.
which equates to around 5.13%, I believe, year
Yeah.
over year. Right. So basically, he was saying that. Like that was like again, obviously that hurts. That hurts. Nobody wants to lose $5, much less $65,000, right? But if you go back from 89 to 96,
Yep.
you would have lost.
The crash, the worst crash in the history of the Toronto Real Estate Board, we lost about $75,000 throughout all those years. And so my point is that yes, this is a big deal. And Anthony's point is, it's not really that big of a deal.
Don't see. I like how you try to put some emotion in that, like non-existent emotion. Like, my point was, as I like to always tell you guys, is numbers tell a story, right? Numbers tell a story, but you can always change that or fudge that story based on how you kind of outlay it. So my point was where I'm not trying to downplay $65,000. Nobody wants to lose any money, much less $65,000. But going back to the numbers Randy was saying, in 89 alone, you lost $18,000 versus $65,000 this year. My point was just, this with 89 is what? That's 25 years back. No, sorry, 35 years, right? That's 35 years between now and then. So $65,000 is a lot now, but if you compare that to $18,000 just back then, which is worse, right? So it's again, we'd have to kind of do some digging. So what Randy was saying is, if you go back to a student working a minimum wage for a year, that'd be like their yearly wage. But now, if they work full time with their wage now, you wouldn't be making $65,000. So
No.
So again, you remember you're probably right. Well, the minimum wage back then was like $8 according to ChatGPT as said, and doing a
What
quick.
did I say?
You said around $8.
I said it right?
You again.
I got it right.
I was shocked too. I was shocked too. You were right here.
So I said the same thing that ChatGPT
In terms
said
of
to you.
the per hour, yes,
The per hour.
$8 per year. It's a bit less. You said 20. It would be around $16,000, which is around 80%.
How many
of
hours is that?
40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. But it's basically working like. But a student probably couldn't work the full.
No,
But
this
assuming
is
they
getting
could,
out of
yeah,
school,
yeah,
getting out
yeah.
of high school.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So if you're out of high
so
school,
it's a year's salary.
a bit less, but yes, less than what you said. But around
Well, it's
80.
18.6.
We said 20. So,
Yeah, roughly speaking. I
So you-
still say 20.
so you're off by around 4%. Yes.
No, you get a couple of overtime hours in there. So the point being is that's what the student out of school would have made. Now a student makes what, 15, 16?
I think it's around.
I think
Call it
it's
16.
1565.
Call it
I think we
16.
said.
Call it double.
Call it double,
So they make around $32,000.
32, but loss of 64. Can you see the difference here? Huh? Can you see? It's double. It's double that amount, and that's what I'm trying to get across here. This is a really horrible time. It's a
Well, it is
time
horrible,
in
but at the
history.
same time, too, housing back then would have been much less. Like, I agree to that. From then to now is much worse, but if you threw,
If we threw you out of the room, then we would be able to get down to this real discussion. The thing is that 18,000, call it 20, was lost in 1990, but over the period of the whole time, which was one of the worst times in the history of the Toronto Real Estate Board, they lost 75,000. But this year alone, 65,000 was lost. Now, if you go back and you take, like Anthony says, you take the worst year and you take 20,000 out of the system, that's the equivalent of a kid out of high school's income. Whereas today, a kid out of high school's income they would have to be two of them that would have to both lose their income in order to get close to the number that it is today. So it's double the loss. And that's what I'm saying. In real terms, it's big. Now, I do understand that part of what Anthony's trying to get across, trying to convey, is that just because of the fact that housing is expensive makes the loss less or more relative or less relative because that percentage turns out to be a bigger number. And I do agree with that, but it still doesn't change the fact that $65,000 loss this year on real estate is where the average marketplace is from beginning to now. That's what's really important. This is in 1 year. If this keeps up, it'll be absolutely insane. If this was like 1989, and Anthony's point being that in 1989 the 20,000 is relative to the 64, which he just found out it is not relative, it's half. And if it was relative, then and we would have another 6 more years to go, that would be $650,000 that would be lost, or $500,000 that would be lost, sucked out of the system. It would be really, really devastating. So I still say that it was a devastating year. It was a really hard year on real estate. More importantly than that is now we have to be super careful moving forward. We have learned that our government has absolutely no problem turning on the public. None. Right? And as a matter of fact, they'll turn around and blame it on the public. And so what I mean by that is that here we are, and we'll have totally very sensitive, smart teachers even justifying this kind of stuff.
Smart teachers.
Even justifying this kind of stuff. and saying that, oh, well, this is kind of not necessarily okay, but it's understandable, trying to rationalize it, but then finding out that really it may not be as justifiable as we really do think. There are a few other considerations that we need to make here. If we were to, are we going? If we're to bring the real estate market down in the same sort of manner where we have these declines for the next 7 years, that will wipe out the real estate industry as we know it. That's pretty much a for sure. If the Bank of Canada decides to continue to increase interest rates, which the world, the banksters are all saying that they're going to be bringing down interest rates come this year, middle of this year. Some people saying the first quarter of this year. It's not, I don't believe so. Third quarter for sure. I want to caution you that every single bank economist was wrong last year. They didn't get not one of the price increases correct from the year before. They had no idea where things were going to be, and they were nowhere close to even right to even suggest what the Bank of Canada was going to do. Every single prediction they made was wrong, and now we're going to sit back at a time when we're actually experiencing the worst crash in the history of the Toronto Real Estate Board. Now, maybe not in terms of percentages, but certainly in terms of dollars. And when we're compiling the dollars with the increased interest rate, this is a tough time. So what I would say is, I'm not saying don't buy real estate. There is a purpose for it. And if you're looking long term, it can be very, very positive purchase, especially with the price of rentals. Renting is no fun feat today, not with the rental prices today. However, if we were to turn around and just say that if you are going to purchase, you definitely have to have a long-term vision. You have to be able to weather the changes that the Bank of Canada may or may not bring. And you have to be prepared for additional taxes that the government is putting in place. So on average, we're seeing in Durham about a 7.2% increase in taxes. I know that sounds a little extreme, and it is, but that's what's happening. And so, we were joking around before the show and we were saying that the government is trying to make housing more affordable, and that's why they're raising the taxes 7.2%. It's a tough time. So my mic's not working?
No, it's not. It's not taking a charge.
Oh,
And
okay.
the transmitter
I
died.
got some buzzing.
Yeah, we'll get rid of that in a minute.
Okay, well.
Ooh, look at you, now
look at
you
me.
look special.
I'm fancy. I'm really fancy. Yeah, so I guess if my mic's not working, I should pass it on to you guys.
I can hear you.
Anthony, go ahead. I'm sure you got something to say about what he just
No,
said.
I was kind of just, I guess, breaking down numbers a little bit. So 20,000, so back in, again, this is some very quick number crunching. According to some quick research, back in the 98, house prices were on average around 273. Today they're around 1.126 million? Actually, no, sorry, 1.189 million, right? 1.189 million. No, sorry, 1.126 million, 1.8
Both.
last year, right? Anyways, that's, again, some quick number crunching. So basically using our numbers, a student so let's say if you're a student and you're trying to save for home and you made that $8 an hour and you for some reason you paid no taxes, you collected everything. At the end of the year, you would have approximately 6.8% of a down payment, right? If you could take let's say you were living at home, Your parents did everything for you. Everything you took went right into the bank. You have 6.8%.
Which means you could buy a house at the end of the year.
Well, so they had
You'd have the down payment
Okay,
to buy a house plus closing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at today, so back then you're making around, so I think it was 60,000. So if you double that, approximately around $33,000 this year. So this year, you'd be at just under 5% or just around 5%. No, sorry,
What?
not 5%. Sorry, 2.5%. Sorry.
So that's
2.5,
with all your
2.5%,
money
yeah.
going into bank.
That's with no taxes. Parents are paying for
No
everything
travel,
for you.
no food, nothing.
So you'd have
Okay.
2.5% of a down payment at the end of the year.
Which you could buy a house with that, but it would be a dollhouse.
Because I was like, where's he going with this one?
American Girl dollhouse.
And actually, back then, so back then, I guess you're using the 5% thing. With homes now at where they are, you couldn't do the 5% anymore. You have to have 20%. So you'd be saving for around 8 years, 9 years. I should say call it 10 because you have to have your transfer fees and all that
And
stuff.
that's not spending a penny
Not spending a penny.
for 8 years.
No entertainment, no gas in your car.
No, mommy and daddy's paying for everything. And you're going back to work, back and forth to work, and you're walking to, because you can't, there's no bus fare.
And you're skirting the law because you're not paying taxes.
Yeah.
Oh, ouch, when they catch you, and they will. It might take a few years, but the longer it takes them to catch you, the worse shape you're in.
So what was I saying? Was I saying it's harder now or then? I'm not sure. What was my
Yeah,
point?
it's the hardest time in
Yeah.
history. It really is.
Prices are way higher than what they were. Incomes didn't go up that much, considering what the cost of living did. Like even now, all of our property tax, everything is going up again. The hydro, gas, that's all going up. Rogers and Bell is increasing all their rates, so have a look at your phone bill next time. I mean, everything is increasing, and I don't know. Like they're getting slammed for it, but the government's worse.
The government talks about housing affordability while they're jacking everything up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even for builders, it costs them more to build houses because it costs more to get all the permits and everything in place. 'Cause they all went up. I think it was double digits. So I think when they took all the numbers and everything, it was something like a 30% increase
But
over the
didn't
last
they
2
also,
years.
wasn't there like talks about that they were going to correct that a little bit
They-
to
well,
make it easier and
they're-
faster,
they're-
cutting through the red tape?
They are doing something with the HST to help to facilitate that, but it's too little, too late. The problem is that things are too expensive. That when you're putting these initiatives, like for a builder, he's got to do all the levies and everything that he has to pay. Right? He has to try to get workers that aren't interested in working at the old wages because things are too expensive. So it's more expensive to drive to work. It's more expensive to eat at work. It's more expensive when you get home to feed your family. So no, they don't want to go and work for the same wages as they were before. And so the builder has to pay more. There are not even enough employees for them to be able to work with those to build the amount of houses that they need. So the cost of the building is expensive. The cost of acquiring all the proper documentation and everything is super expensive. Taxes are more. Employment is more. The materials is more, and there's less workers. So. It's not going to happen. Affordability is not coming anytime soon, and that's why it still is worth buying homes.
It is worth?
It is
Because you
worth
see,
it.
I sit here and I think, I see the other side where you read some articles and it's like, oh, I don't want to buy a home. I never want to have that responsibility because if you're renting, yeah, the rent is high, but if you have to buy a house and give up everything else in life, are you going to be happy in the end?
Well,
If you can't travel, if you can't go out and do any entertainment, I'm just saying, I can see why people are saying, I'm never going to own a home because it's like being house rich and cash poor is not necessarily a good way to live either.
And
Okay.
Sorry, just to kind of touch on that with the whole owning a place. I know a lot of people too. I even have family members who just go, especially if you have a job where you can work remotely.
Yeah.
You can go to like these other countries where they're whether it's Mexico, Dominican, a lot of different places, and rent out places for cheaper than you're paying rent here. Like literally, you have a place, you have your internet. Even if you have to pay for your internet, whatever, it sometimes can work out cheaper where you can travel the world. If you work remotely, and have a place to stay, and the nice weather for maybe consider similar price to what you pay here. Again, this obviously depends on your family dynamic. If you have kids, it might be a bit harder. But like if you're on the younger side where you're not fully settled down yet, it might be something that you might want to look into.
Well, two agents from our office, I mean, they did an article on them. You can look them up. A Canadian couple that's left everything behind, sold their house, and they're cruising the world. And that's what they're doing. I mean, it's cheaper sometimes to sell everything and just hop from cruise to cruise. I mean, and not only that, like we were talking about a few weeks ago, how now you have the hotels that have some rates for people that are actually going to live there. Like they have like 35% of their rooms left for that alone, for people that are coming and they're actually using the hotel as a home. Because when you think about it, you get a lot of amenities depending on which hotel you're going to stay in, right? You could have gym, you could have a swimming pool, hot tub, sauna, a games room if you want to have people over, a party room. I mean, I don't know. It's tough out there right now.
Yeah, I think that's all short-sighted, personally. I think as much as I'm saying how difficult it is, the thing is, the difficult things you have to struggle through. All you have to do today is just grab all your friends, all of the ones that bought homes and raised a family, versus all the ones that raised a family and rented. Okay? The ones that raised a family and rented paid less and have less. The ones that raised a family and bought homes have more. So it is harder. It's a harder struggle. It requires more attention. It also makes you commit more to your job to become probably even a better employee, because it's really important that you don't get fired or you lose your home and your children have nowhere to live. And so it changes you, it sharpens you, and it helps with your family. So, and the thing is, at the end of it all, don't forget this, the most important part. At the end of it all, 25 years later, if you do things right, your home's paid off for, and now you don't have payments. But that tenant, they have payments, and big ones. You see, when I was younger, we were paying, me and my boys, there was 3 of us, we were paying $300 each. 300. Today, if we were to get a house, we'd be paying about $1,200 each.
Yeah, at least minimum
Yeah,
1,200
$1,200
each.
If you could even get a house to do that with, because homeowners wouldn't let 3 guys go and share a house. So that's even if we could go and do that. And so the cost went up 400%. And what do we have at the end of it all? We would have nothing. We'd be renting. Probably, when the seller wants to sell, then you get kicked out and you're looking for a new place. And you're at the whim of all of that. And never, ever do you get to make it yours. And when you buy, you get to make it yours. You get to say, hey, listen, let's change this up. Let's make this here. Let's do this improvement here. Yes, it costs money, but it becomes yours. And so I as much as I know it's difficult, you have to find a way. You can't let the system keep you down. So as we were saying, is that the marketplace has the marketplace is very difficult to navigate. And as we said, you have to look long term. But if you are able to do that, there are wins, and you will win long term. If you consider right now, everything is out of control. It's not going to stay like this, but it's like this now. It's like this because we went through a pandemic with a drama teacher leading our country, following most of the other countries, and it just having doctors run our economic, environment, absolutely insane. I don't think we'll ever do that again. We realize the pitfalls from doing that. But we also learned that very quickly government can turn on us and strip us of our rights. And there's a good portion of people who just don't appreciate that at all. And then there's a portion of people who are comfortable with it. And you talk to them and they support it and they buy into, I would say, the falsehoods or the perceptions is probably a better word, because it's not a falsehood if you believe that the mask was going to save you from catching COVID. That's not a falsehood. That's your truth, even though you got COVID and you got 15 masks. And it's true. It's true. But the thing is that the point being is that, fighting through all of this, what's going to happen, the end result of all of this is that immigration's at all-time high. People are coming here, they're realizing it's super expensive and they're taking off, a good portion.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter because the people who are staying are contributing to our housing crises. And in contributing to our housing crises, they're causing more and more and more demand on the little bit of supply that we have and driving prices upwards.
But the same thing is happening in the places that everybody's moving to. So like I was reading an article and I was talking about in particular like Thunder Bay, like come on, like who's gonna go live in Thunder Bay? It's so remote and freezing and everything, but the prices in those really outside areas, now they're feeling a hit because their prices are going up because so many people are gravitating there because it's cheaper, that they're having increases now as well. So, I mean, it's,
That's going to happen, but keep in mind that it's really important to keep your eye on where the jobs are, because that's what's going to maintain prices.
But that's like Anthony said, though, I'm sorry to cut you off, there's so many jobs now that are remote, you just do from home.
Yeah, and I'm hearing differently. I'm hearing that the employers who were, you can work remotely, are like, nah, you're back 3 days a week. You're back in the office. This is how they're starting it. And many of the optimistic people are saying, oh no, I work better from home. Good for you. The businesses don't feel that. They want you back. And so there's a push on it. It's a slow boil, but I believe that's what's going to happen. So if you really do think that you're going to be able to go to Thunder Bay and keep some nice high-powered job and work, I believe that's short-lived. And we will see. I don't believe this whole remote working is going to.
It really depends though too. Like on, I guess if you have like an old, like if you're getting a job now, you can like search for jobs that are remote for one, and two, it's a bit hard for the employer. Like if you get a job like now where you're at home 3 days a week, for them to change it, it's I can't remember the term. It's like It's not terminated.
Forced resignation.
Something like that, yeah. Where like they can't necessarily legally just change it on you. I'm not sure if it's legally, but like there's some things that have to be done. So I don't know. I can't see it.
So that's right. They're gonna have to pay you out, but they're going to. I mean, this is the thing. This is the thing that people don't realize is, okay, you can make whatever law you want to stop people, to stop businesses from trying to manage their business. But at the end of the day, They're going to manage their business, and they're just going to say, hey, listen, we need the people to be here. That's the way we can spin faster. That's the way we can have better, what we believe, culture. That's the way we believe we can spread out more. And with this whole, everybody is in different places and all that stuff and working. It's working a little bit, but it's not working as much as people think. You talk to the head entrepreneurs, and this is actually big business. What they've tried to do, they've tried to make a virtual workplace, a combination of virtual and reality workplace, and it's not working very well. And but there are lots of leftovers right now that are working from home. And you talk to them, you say, hey, listen, now what's happening? What's the push at your office? Are they trying to bring you back, or are they perfectly okay with you being at work? No, they're trying to bring us back. That's what they're doing. And they're getting lots of resistance from people because, it's better it feels so much better to be able to work from home. But how long is that going to be sustainable? And we'll see what happens. What was it? One of the book, is it book.com? Booker?
Booking?
Something where you book your vacations.
Oh, booking.com?
Bookings.com.
Yeah. Look at they thought that they could go remote. What they do? Let go everybody. They'll just start over again. So, you know what? It might not be easy to keep those employees that already have the taste of working from home and they think that it's great, but all they do is they just shut down the division. And there they go. Those employees are all gone. They pay whatever and they start again. And so I think that you got to keep your eye on what's important. I think some people will be able to work virtually. A lot of people are going to take on, I think what'll be even a bigger trend than that is people becoming entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs, where they're actually working for themselves but working with a company. Now they have the control of what they produce. And if they don't produce, then they won't get hours. And if they do produce, then they will. And I think that there's something there. Again, being careful going to Thunder Bay and those kind of places where internet is not as strong. You got to be a little bit careful. But you're not going to replace the quality of life in, I believe, like a Thunder Bay or one of the small towns versus being somewhere near the city, because the opportunities are so vast here. So whether you lose that job, there's 50 other jobs waiting. But if you're out in Thunder Bay, there's not 50 other jobs waiting. There's only 50 jobs.
Yeah, that is true.
I don't know. I'll say again, and we talked about this a long time ago on the show, when you buy a house, it's almost like a forced savings because you're building equity constantly. If you stay there long enough, everything is going to come back around. Hey, look out there at the fashion. It kills me because I see the kids buying stuff and I'm like, what? I'm like,
I should have saved mine.
yeah, and I'm like, that's in style now. And they're like, Mom. And I'm like, but I wore this in the 80s. So same thing with the housing market. It's up, it's down, it's going to come back around. I mean,
That was a weird segue.
you know?
Yeah, I agree with you, because if you think about it, what's happening to the color gray now? Grays are going out.
Beige is coming back. I
Beige
mean, not the same tones. Some of they're a little more beigey gray than full-on beige, but yeah, grays are. White kitchens, they're saying it's
White
not in
kitchen.
for next year. I mean,
I'm not into the whole in-out. I wear what I like.
yeah.
This is
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Well,
yeah. But
Don't say that in front of the Lululemon founder.
I guess no. Hey, I wear what I like. If it can fit me, if it can't fit me, I go somewhere else. Like,
this is it.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think buying a home is a really good idea. Like I said, you're building equity and you're building something for your family in the future. So I don't know.
New tax. Did we talk about that?
a little bit. You touched on it. They're making houses cheaper, right?
Tax, if you buy a house that's $3 million or more, you gotta pay a municipal land tax now of 3% on that property. Justin Trudeau is also in the talks of trying to have an equity tax. So that now, when you sell your single-family home dwelling or the main dwelling that you were exempted from, principal exemption before.
Oh, to get rid of that? Think we'll get rid of that?
I don't think he's gonna be able to pass it before he
that'll be
gets
like
kicked
a-
out. But, that's what they're looking for right now. They're looking at that. And the thing is, I don't think it'll happen, and because I honestly believe that he will be kicked out before it happens. But I do understand why he's looking at it, because he has to pay the bills. He spent all kinds of money. For all of you lovers out there that love this new dental plan and this $10 daycare in 6 provinces, this is all wonderful. Well, we gotta pay for it. We gotta pay for it somehow. So how's he gonna pay for it? I know that Justin isn't gonna go out and work, so he's not paying. So it's gotta be paid for somehow. So they've gotta raise taxes. They're bringing in more and more and more immigrants in order to get, more people to pay taxes, and that can help. But it's not working. Our GDP is less than it was, the last 2 quarters in a row, it was negative. So that's not working. That's not gonna bring in enough money, even though there's more people. He's got to raise taxes. And so what kind of taxes is he gonna raise? That's what we're gonna find out. That's why everybody's experiencing higher tax rate on their properties now. And that's one thing they're doing, but they're just going to continue to hit. As a matter of fact, I heard a couple other tax things that they're bringing in as well. But I mean, they can't stop it because they have to do something to pay all the money that they paid out. And I'll tell you, that's why it infuriates me when I hear all these really patient people, including some of the people in our office. One is sitting over in a booth over there that is really patient with our government, that understands what they're doing and appreciates, not necessarily fully, but is very sympathetic. And it's frustrating because for me, I'm not sympathetic to it. I don't think they should be able to do half the things that they go and do. And I think personally they're just buying votes. And I don't think that they're doing anything constructive.
Immigration is that. I mean,
Immigration,
Politics
dental
is just
plan.
buying votes. That's all it is.
yes,
Politics
it
is a cycle of buying votes.
Yes.
But when you have sympathetic ears, that's what allows it. Like, but it's nice to know that Canadians are very compassionate like that.
Yeah, but I think we got to get out of this whole, we're voting for the party because our grandfather did, our parents did. We really got to get out there and see what's going on.
I think I'm jaded,
And-
but I think they're all just. I'm pretty sure even if we had conservatism right now, things would be probably a little bit different, but this is still going to be. They're still just buying the votes. They're still doing whatever they
You know how
need.
much different? We wouldn't have the dental plan. We wouldn't have free. What they're calling this free.
I don't got no free dental.
We wouldn't have that, but there'd be something else. Same with the same kind of issue.
Big dollar stuff.
I
Those are big, huge dollar stuff.
no, I agree. All I'm saying is I'm pretty sure if other party was in, there'd be something else. Whether
Do you think they would have closed everything down,
I
made
think-
everybody stay home and start?
I honestly probably yeah. I think they probably would have.
I think that was kind of following the world,
'Cause-
yeah. I
because
think,
Not
yeah.
everybody in the world, remember?
No, but-
That's why they kicked out Trump, right? Because he's saying, this is stupid.
No,
This is
but
just
they were closing down too, weren't they? When he was in?
Donald Trump,
I don't think New York ever
he
closed
didn't want
down.
to close down.
Yeah.
He called it a hoax, and
Okay.
whatever, and he
Well, it
says
was
it's
an
just a
attack
flu.
on the economy, right?
He called it the China flu. Don't you remember? He got in so much trouble, and that's why Joe Biden was able to get in because he was more sensitive. Actually, he didn't even say anything. He just hid in his basement. But nonetheless, he got in. And then what happened? Now we have Justin Trudeau, Joe Biden, and a whole bunch of other leftists
Yeah, but Randy, I
takeover
don't know.
thing.
I kind of like, I mean, yeah, they shut down everything and all that, but look at it. Our daughter has had COVID 3 times. She was probably one of the first cases, and we didn't even know it was COVID because in December 2019. Look at her. She is a mess. She had a touch of asthma before all of this. Now her asthma is so bad, she's using a puffer like 10, 12 times a day.
Yeah, she got hit hard.
She can't taste anything. Her smell is horrible. Now she's got what they call COVID tongue. I mean, these are like real things that people suffered. You know, I don't know how they could not have closed things down when people were dying and, you know.
Because
and
Jackie didn't do anything.
she eats food and it tastes like garbage. Like it
Okay,
actually
so-
smells like garbage.
so
Like,
then
it was real.
Okay, we're not saying that it wasn't real. What we're saying is that the solutions that they had would do nothing. Just because you go and close everything down. Remember, we were supposed to close down for 2 weeks and it was all supposed to go away? And we're closed down for 2 years? Like, come
No,
on,
I
man.
hear
It wasn't
you, I
doing
hear you.
anything.
I hear
know,
you.
and,
But it was the same thing with the real estate market. They're talking, oh, COVID did this. No, it wasn't COVID. The real estate market was correcting itself and the government stepped in and
Yeah.
just caused a disaster.
Yeah.
Like, I swear, if we look at how many realtors there were in the GTA, on the TREB board in 2019 versus how many are active maybe at the end of next year, you're going to see a drastic difference.
Decline?
Because a lot came in because they thought, oh, easy money,
Easy
let's
money.
get in. It's not easy
Show
money.
me
It's,
the money.
I mean, real estate is not easy money if you're serving your clients and doing what you should be doing for your clients. It's not easy, and it's not a ton of money we make. People think we do, but I mean,
It's good money.
a lot of people came in and they did 1 deal, 2 deals, and they're gone because it's not cheap to keep your license every year either and pay all the fees and the
It is
insurance.
not. Just had to pay them now, or a couple days ago.
Yeah, like what? Almost $3,000.
You know, they don't tell you that too. I remember-
Beginning of the year.
And they don't tell
I
you
remember when I
that.
got my license, when I first got it, I'm like, okay, yes, I got my license. And then I see all these fees. I'm like, nowhere in the book to talk about any of these fees.
I know.
It's just literally this bam, $1,000 here, $5 here, $300 here. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing to me? Like,
Yeah,
like it's,
not to mention
They
the
do it
learning
on
curve.
purpose.
yeah, because like
Obviously.
I honestly was like, oh, interesting. Okay, gotta go find $800.
You know why
Yeah.
they pretend like they don't tell you what the justification is for it? Oh, because different realtors join different boards and they have different costs, so we don't.
Oh, that's what
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was doing a couple of different boards as well in the further east because I had a lot of clients that were moving that way. And I was paying like, to be part of another board outside of TREB, I was paying almost $150 a month to be
Nice.
part of that board.
Yeah, just so we could get some information
so I could see
outside of
listings.
our
True, yeah.
in the Peterborough area, so we could see
And I
what
was
was
doing
going on
two,
there.
because we had the Peterborough, we were doing the Barry, and I was doing TREB. So I had 3 different boards I was paying for, just so that I could serve my clients properly, right? So, I mean, it is not cheap. So don't think you're going to get in real estate and it's cheap and it's easy money, because it's not. It's not.
Or think it, and then you'll find out.
Yeah, yeah.
So Anthony, you got some numbers there?
Yeah, so numbers. It's kind of interesting. I'm sure you can dive a bit deeper, but I'm going to talk about the month over month compared to the year over year, and kind of like some of like this interesting things that happen. Like, so first off, with the average price month over month. So month over month, we went up 3.2% from December of this year, last year to this year. But our yearly prices went down 5%. So even though we had a pretty good month in December where prices rose 3% nonetheless, our overall year-over-year prices still dropped by around, I think it was 5.13 or 5.14% year-over-year. Sales in December, again, up 11.5%. We went to this year 3,444 sales. Last year it was 3,090. But this year, our yearly sales was the worst in 20-something years. We had 65,000 approximately this year versus 75,000 last year. So a 12% drop in sales year over year, even though we had 11% month over month increase in sales. So a lot of these numbers are like it's like what's going on here? Like we had a nice December, but when you look at it in the whole year, it's kind of crazy. New listings down 6.6%, while active listings are up 19%. Right, so month over month we're down 6.6% in month over month, but our active listings that have been going on up close to 20%. So there's a huge juxtaposition of the market in terms of what's happening. So if you're looking short term versus long term, you kind of can get you can be misled if you don't kind of look at the whole picture. Days on market are 49 days on market. I'm not sure if you remember back to when COVID was like in this peak. If you're on the market for 5 days, you're like, what the hell is going on here? Like how's it just kind of flipping? Now we're 2 months on the market, 2.5 months of inventory. Even the sales price to list price, we're at 97%, where we're seeing 101, 102, 103%, 104%,
yeah.
right? Even Durham at 99% is well, it's strong, but it's low compared to what it was,
Yeah.
right? So it's the numbers are very, very interesting when you look at them overall. So you can add on a bit. I'm sure you have a whole bunch of stuff to go over, but yeah, it's interesting, especially when you look at it between what happened in December versus what happened in the whole year.
Yeah. Well, December was a little bit of a rally. November was a tough month. And August, September, October were a little tough, and November was the same, and December gave it a little bit of a rally. However, it wasn't enough to pull the year together, and we knew that. We knew the year wasn't going to be pulled together in December, one of the weakest months of the year. But overall, what really is happening is that we are at an all-time low, and what I mean by all-time low is that we have to go back to 1996 to find transactions this low on the Toronto Real Estate Board. So, if we were to go back to 1996, I wonder how many realtors there were. So we were at what, 70,000
At that
realtors,
point,
something
were
like that
we?
right now?
Were we still, no, we were gone computer at that point, were we? No. We were still looking through those books for listings back
Yeah,
then.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I
because
think
I
so.
licensed in '99, and the
You're still
books were
doing it.
kind of fading out,
Out
but it was
then?
still there, where we go to the office and we had these
And
big,
these-
thick books that we looked through to find
To
listings.
find
And
listings, yeah.
We've come a long way.
And so basically what's happening with the market is that the market is slowing. And so transactions are very, very slow. And they're not slow because people don't want to buy. That is not the reason why it's slow. It is slow because people can't buy. That's what's really happening right now. The cost to purchase is what they call affordability. Affordability is at such a low. It is so difficult to be able to find the down payment for a property. So with the average price of a detached home in there, what's it say, 1.4? Average price of a detached home
Detached is 1.5. What this year?
for this year,
1.521.
1.5.
Sorry. 1.4. Sorry, 1.418.
That's
Right.
a good chunk of change.
Okay, 1.4, between 1.4 to 1.5, and you need 20% down. So you're looking at approximately $300,000 plus closing costs to be able to buy the average detached home. And so that right there makes it quite challenging to have $300,000. And then when you do have the $300,000, that almost doesn't even let you still buy a home, because that means you got to carry a mortgage for anywhere between 1.1 to
Which is
1.3
like
million dollars, which is
$7,000 a
which is,
month.
yeah, I would say between $7,000 and $8,000 a month is your monthly carrying cost for the average.
For the mortgage, not for the
We're
home.
not talking about an exceptional home here. We're talking about an average home. for the mortgage. We're not talking about the taxes or anything of that nature. And so,
And some of those homes need renos, and you're paying that for them.
yeah, these are average homes.
yeah.
These aren't exceptional, amazing homes that you would expect to be able to have at
And
that
now-
pricing.
And now there's this thing with the, has it come in yet, or is it coming in with the, anything over 3 million?
It's in.
It's
I
in
believe.
already, right?
And
It's
so,
being-
And so you're looking at, $300,000 down and $8,000 a month for the average detached home, which is just not affordable to the average Joe. So the average person is going to need, realistically speaking, somewhere closer to $1 million down. And
Sorry, I wouldn't even say the average, even the above average, $8,000 is
insane.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to need about $1 million down, and that's to carry a $400,000 to $500,000 mortgage, which is still quite a bit.
And as the new year, the taxes went up, property tax.
And so, so it's not easy today, and that's why there's not a lot of transactions.
And people are moving out of Toronto.
And so that's why transactions are low. Now, what's going to happen? There's going to be a rebellion, okay? Pretty soon, I think this year, 2024, if not for sure 2025, we're going to have an election, okay? What typically happens at those times is that the government is trying to stay in power. They can't have a depressed economy like we have currently. They can't have people who don't have the desire to want to do better. They can't have that kind of an economy. So they will then run perks. They will then start to do things. They might give us 100-year amortization, right? They might, intergenerational purchases.
Yeah, I was just going to say where your kids are roped in now when you're long and gone.
Well, no, they can sell the house, cash out, and not bother, or they can take it on from there to pay it off over 2 to 3 generations. This is going to be the way things are going to move forward. They're not going to get much cheaper. It's just not going to happen. You know how we know? Let's look everywhere else. So if you look in, I don't know, pick like New York, Beverly Hills, whatever, they got a little tiny junker of a home, and it's $6 million. For a little tiny bungalow that doesn't even have a proper lock on the front door, and it's a 1-bedroom little bungalow, but because it's in a good neighborhood, that's the cost of it. And so and that's not realistic, but the thing is, that's just over time, that's just how money works. You see, I remember when a bag of chips was 10 cents. And my wife will probably remember when a bag of chips was a quarter.
Don't
what?
go, no.
Do you remember when it was a quarter?
I just had a birthday. How old am I?
70.
How old am I?
He was actually saying you're younger, because it said a quarter for you and 10 cents for him.
Yeah. But she doesn't listen, so.
No, because you know what? I didn't listen, obviously, because I'm so used to getting dissed that I just assumed you were dissing me.
Okay. So you should kind of listen sometimes.
But you're hitting the
But
big
it's-
6-0 this
But it's
year.
hard to listen.
I'm far
when
from
you-
that.
When you're this old, right? It's hard to hear. Is that
Yeah,
what it is?
I'm hard
Okay.
of hearing when it comes to you talking, definitely, yes.
So I remember when bag of chips was 10 cents, and my wife was probably around a quarter, and
I honestly can't remember, but the only thing I can remember was candy. You get a little brown bag of candy for like 25 cents.
I think it was a nickel for us. Do you remember those
I
times?
remember the 1 cent candies, yes.
Yeah,
You could
one-
go to the arcade, okay, let's call it the arcade, which wasn't really an arcade back then. But you could go with $10 and be there for hours, playing pinball.
$10.
And
That's
yeah,
huge.
and have like some fries or something.
If we
You
had
can't even
$10,
get in the door for $10 now.
if we had
The
$10,
fee.
we were rich. There was
Yeah.
no way
That's
your
what I'm
parents
saying.
would
You had
ever.
a night out.
I'm a bit younger than you guys, and I think when I was in grade 8, 9, I got like $20 a week for lunch, and that would last me the full week, $20.
Which is crazy, because now
That's
it's
a-
$14 for one lunch.
Yeah, so I mean, so this is how money works. See, it starts off at one number, whatever your number is today. So, for example, our kids will remember chips being $3 instead of 10 cents
Yeah.
or a quarter. They'll remember $3, and at that time, what'll happen is that the chips will be $9, $10 for a bag of chips.
And you know what's happening? Actually, sorry, I read an article that somebody actually took, and I think it was chips, and they discovered that not only did the price of these things go up, but the quantity that they're saying is like 500 grams or whatever in the bag, and they actually weighed it on it like 3 or 4 different times, and it wasn't the amount of food in the bag that they were saying there was. So the price went up, and they're actually gypping you.
Did they,
No, it's called shrinkflation.
no, but no, shrinkflation is usually it's actually, what it says is true, but it's a smaller.
Yeah, I would imagine it's true, but it just keep getting less and less. I don't imagine
we
they're
don't
putting
know.
out fake
And-
numbers.
And I don't want to see that too, because like if they measure, like, how many bags do they measure? Like, because like I'm sure it's a machine that's dumping it in. Right? I don't think they're literally measuring each bag. They kind of say, okay, this many chips should be that weight. So
I'm thinking they're measuring it.
every bag.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
I mean,
I
how
think
can
so.
you not? If you're saying is this amount in it, how can
Yeah.
you not be?
Yeah,
I
I'm
just think-
thinking.
I
I'm thinking
somehow.
I
the
think it's-
robots are very specific.
I would think it's just more kind of stats. I know
But,
this much
you know-
volume of chips would be that much. So maybe put 2% more, so you always get at least the what you
Yeah,
say. But
that's what I would think. I would think that it's
I don't
probably
know.
pretty
This guy
specific.
did it. He was
But-
in the States, and he discovered that it was.
And that's probably
'Cause who
why
the hell's
they measure it now.
Who's weighing your bag of pasta to make sure you're getting 900 grams? Like,
Somebody
come on.
is.
Like-
I can tell you, somebody is. I've met quite a few different personalities out there.
Well,
And,
you kind of have to now. Like, think about it.
well,
so
some-
you're beating your scale with your portable
You
weigher.
know?
well, someone. Well, first of all, I know. Actually, I can almost bet my left arm. Yeah, that's the one that's not as good. You know, why is it that you got two arms? One
no.
works really, really well, and the other one doesn't
Well, I
work
can
as
use
well.
both. I can
you
use both mine.
constantly use this
'Cause
when
y'all-
you've trained it.
You
I
can
don't
use,
under-
You can use both of yours.
Yeah.
So neither one works very well. Usually,
Touche,
you
touche.
go one good, one, really good one. So typically speaking, when you go to self checkout, when you scan it, it knows exactly what weight should go on the
Yes.
side tray. So
Yes.
so that's why I think everything is weighted.
No,
in
but even that, I'm sure there's a tolerance of like 5%.
possibly, yeah. Because
And now do you see the new
the
new
shopping
thing?
carts.
The new Sobeys has them in the city. We haven't seen them out here yet. The entire cart does your purchase. As you put the item in the cart knows.
Yeah.
You pay for it by swiping on the cart, and you leave. You don't
Well,
have to have contact with anybody.
Well, it's like when you go to the library like now, anyways. You put your books on the thing, it just scans them all, and you go.
I don't go to the library, so I don't know. My kids buy a book if they want it. I don't know if they've ever
They're
been.
going to come out with jeans that when you put the stuff in your pockets, it charges you. And you
Well,
can
they have
just
stores.
go
They
right
have
off.
stores like that already, where you literally walk in, you walk out, and then
Yeah, with it.
Yeah, and it charges your.
It charges
account or
you.
something.
That's the way. So then that way you don't have to worry about theft,
I'm sorry,
right?
sorry. Before you go on though, it was like a store like that, and when they're checking, actually, it's a store like that, but you actually have to check out. But you don't. You go, you come out, and then you tap the screen. Nobody's in the store.
Mm-hmm.
Checking out. The first screen was how much tip do you want to give?
Oh.
Nobody was there.
Nobody's there.
Nobody was there, and it's asking for a tip. So, like,
Wow.
so
Yeah.
you're tipping the
Yeah.
machine for like.
Yeah, and they were saying too, like Torontonians are tipped out. They're saying because it
Oh,
is.
yeah,
a tip.
it's
And you feel
insane.
bad if you're buying something.
I don't-
And
I-
then that screen is there that says a tip. I have to do it because I feel
Oh, no,
obligated.
I'm a no tipper. Like, I'm sorry.
I feel horrible.
If I'm sitting in and eating, and you're doing something, sure. But if you're just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just cheap, but like.
Yeah,
and
it's hard to say
Even
no,
like the
though.
donation things,
But
like
no.
everywhere you go, like, do you want to donate $2 here, $2 there? Like,
Oh, did you see a Salvation Army one this year? you can't tell them anymore you don't have change because now they got tapped.
Oh, yeah, no.
$5-10,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just tap your debit card and give them, which, I mean, they're, like, let's face it though, the food banks took a really bad hit this year, or last year,
I
sorry,
get
we're
the
in
tap
the new
thing
year now.
because
but-
like no one carries cash anymore, but I don't know. I'll every now and then I might give, but like if you literally give to every person who's asking, you'll be broke by the time you get home.
Oh, definitely.
By the time you get home,
Yeah.
you'll be broke.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's get back to the housing. So the fact that your chips are going to cost were 10 cents and a quarter, and now they're $3. I think they're like $3.19 or something like that. Or it's like a pop and a thing is $5 for chips, and that's not going to do anything to you other than start to poison your system. But that's $5 gone. That's how it works. But soon enough, that'll be $10. When you guys have your children, we have our grandchildren, it will be $10 for that. And that's how housing, the same way the chips go up, the bread goes up, the milk goes up, your houses are gonna go up. So the fact that right now we can't believe that a house costs 1.5 million, that's just the cost of it. And it will get more expensive. And that's just the way things will be. All assets, there is no other way in which to conduct your life. You have to purchase assets because that will help to weather the cost of everything. Because as the money deflates and buys less, that asset holds its value or increases. So before, when you had $5 that bought a couple of things, now $10 buys those couple of things. Well, your asset is now worth $10. So you are going to have to find a way to begin to reconfigure your brain to be able to handle
pocketbook.
what's happening right now, because it's not going to get better, but it is going to get, it will get better, sorry. It will get better. There will be a different affordability at some point. And if you're caught and really negative about what's going on, you will miss it. So you got to be there, and you got to
Be
stay
square.
as positive as you possibly can, and have an amazing 2024.
Hopefully, we're live next week.
Oh, live. Yeah.
Back on the radio.
Well, it'll be great.
All right, ladies and gents, hopefully your 2024 started off well and you have a great rest of the year as well. Thanks for joining us again. As always, it's been your home, your money, and our lives. Next week on realradio101.com. This week on YouTube. Have a great weekend.
Bye,
Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy,
What's with the three?
Jackie, and Anthony,
I have no
right here on Reality Radio 101.
Involved in the show and
Why do